Hey, practice owners, let's talk a little bit about speed to lead and why this one seemingly small factor can dramatically improve your marketing results and close rates. So, I want to start with this video from Alex Hormozy. It's kind of one of the newest prominent marketing gurus talking about some of the research behind speed to lead and how that if he couldn't change anything with your ads, anything with your offers, anything with your sales process, but he could change this one thing, the impact it would have on your conversion rates. And when we look across our client roster, it's hard for us to get a pulse on this with statistics and measurement because the tools that we use, they don't have a quantitative data point around speed to lead that's easy to reference. But I wanted to talk a little bit about why this is so important and what maybe the gold standard is in your med spa for how to handle leads management. First, let's go over some benchmark information on just how important speed to lead is. So I remember, 15 years ago hearing stats from real estate firms about speed to lead and how important it was for realtors to get back to their inbound leads within 5 minutes. And you hear this kind of stuff. And I think the tendency for most of us is to think that it's maybe a little overblown. And I will say I am kind of prone to doing this as well, where you hear these stats, you're like, it can't really be that important. If they really wanted to do business with us, they would do business with us, right? If they really wanted to book an appointment at our med spa, they would book an appointment at our med spa. Because I waited 15 minutes versus 2 minutes to get back to them, that can't make that much of a difference. And it seems counterintuitive to some extent, but it's just the reality. And I think this is because people have paralysis analysis with all of the options they have, that by simplifying this and reducing friction by being proactive, you kind of take the stressor, you take the stress off of the prospect's plate by allowing them to make a decision and break out of the paralysis analysis. So when there is a lag and they're looking at different things and they filled out a form and now their brain is onto something else, right? Or they're overwhelmed by the amount of options. They go back to their Facebook feed after filling out a lead form and they're seeing 9 more ads. You've now allowed them to enter this stage of paralysis analysis, and it's going to become harder to convert that prospect as they start to snowball. If you can get to them early when they've sort of had the blinders on to the marketing message they've just seen from your med spa, that's the time they're most likely to move, right? They just were looking at your ad, they responded, they filled out a form. That was the moment that they were thinking about you. And so if you can connect with them while they're still thinking about you, you're much more likely to get them over the finish line with booking the appointment. If you wait, not only do they have other options and the research can continue and they're inundated with other marketing message because now they're being retargeted by every other med spa and they jump into this paralysis analysis realm. The second part of that that's really important to remember is that they've moved on to something else in their lives, right? Think about yourself. If you've ever filled out a form or started a purchase process and then got distracted by whatever was next in your day, you have to switch gears to go back to making a purchase decision. And for most people, that requires some effort. And so if they've moved on to doing the dishes or spending time with family or stepping away from their computer or grabbing dinner or jumping on the phone with a friend or a client, all of those distractions pull them further away from that tunnel vision they had when they filled out the lead form originally. So those two things in combination, I think, make speed to lead, just from an anecdotal, qualitative data standpoint, really important. But let's go into some of the quantitative data on speed to lead. So there is, according to Velocify, and these are just internet sources, so take some of these with a grain of salt, but I tried to compile a list of these things. In one of the research studies that they reference, which is a lead response management study, and then a 2026 Blasio benchmark report, they showed a 391% increase in conversion. So triple to quadruple the conversion rate if you were able to respond to your leads within 60 seconds. 391%. Another study from MIT and InsideSales.com. You have a 21x higher qualification rate, 21 times more likely to qualify a lead if you respond within 5 minutes versus the 30-minute sample window. So in their A/B test, it was within 5 versus 30. 21 times more likely to qualify a lead. Now, I don't know exactly what their definition was, so take some of these again with a grain of salt, but 100 times more likely to connect. The odds of simply getting a lead on the phone dropped by 100x if you wait 30 minutes instead of 5. So I'll give you another fun little anecdote. We run ads for our podcast. And typically I've let those people just go into a workflow in high level and sort of been very soft with my approach. And usually you don't get a big response rate from our automation workflows, but I started calling some of the people because I set up a notification, which I hadn't had before, to go to my phone when somebody just subscribed to our podcasts. And I started calling those people. And the response rate is way higher than I would have expected. I've even called people like with less speed to lead, just the act of being proactive with the phone call. I've had 2 or 3 conversations with people I was not have conversations with just today alone that I would have probably never talked to if I didn't use this strategy. So as I'm testing this out and I'm starting to do this during the work week when the leads are coming in, I'm really interested to see how much speed to lead. I did one of these on Friday and the person answered. I was able to connect with them on the phone. So think about that, like speed to lead, being proactive, getting them on a phone call or engaged in a text conversation. But honestly, on the phone, probably even the gold standard if you can. The first responder advantage, 78% of customers, nearly 8 out of 10 prospects buy from the company that responds first. Think about that. 8 out of 10 prospects, according to Lead Connect MIT research, bought with the company that that contacted them and responded first, whether they have the lowest price or not. Very interesting. So anytime you filled out something on a real estate thing or for a quote where multiple companies are getting your information, you've seen how fast those companies try to get to you. Are they doing that in vain just because they've been told some bull crud data point that's not true? Or do they have the anecdotal experience to prove that getting that first contact is everything? And I think that that's probably the case with med spas, especially knowing that people that are inquiring after seeing an ad from your med spa, they didn't go searching for your med spa specifically. They are instantly getting, these algorithms are designed to inundate them with ads for other similar med spas and similar services in your area. So getting to them first can make a massive difference. Failure rates. Average healthcare response. The average response time for a medical or healthcare practice is 2 hours and 5 minutes, despite the optimal window being under 10 minutes. That's from Influx 2025. The never rate. 63% of companies fail to respond to a web lead within the first 24 hours. So if any of you fit in that category, you're probably really seeing a drop off. So we've talked a little bit about the validation phase. If people are researching your med spa and it's anything less than stellar in terms of reputation, we believe that's going to have an impact on your close rates to a pretty significant degree. But this speed to lead might be even more important than that. So if you've got deviation in your close rates, your conversion rates, and you see a fluctuation or a substandard result, I would argue speed to lead is probably one of the first things to look at. Hey, practice owners and marketing directors, interrupting this episode to invite you to schedule a one-on-one strategy call with me to discuss how we might be able to improve and level up your digital marketing efforts. So we're rated 5 stars on Google. We're HIPAA verified by Compliancy Group, and we have a track record of taking clients from $30,000 a month to $120,000 a month and adding multi-millions of dollars in additional revenue for some of our bigger multi-location med spas from more effective marketing strategies. So on the free strategy call, it's really educational. I basically spend an hour going through detailed reviews of all of our best performing plays that we run for our clients. You have it to take and run with it if that's what you want to do. And if you think it might be a fit to work together, then we're excited about the possibility to partner with you. But if you're interested in better, more effective digital marketing solutions for your med spa, visit medspamagicmarketing.com. That's medspamagicmarketing.com to schedule your one-on-one strategy call with me. So now, as a med spa, what are your options here? So there are agencies, some of our competitors, they operate under a super lean. So we really pride ourselves on the consulting angle. We coach our clients. We're really data driven. We understand the trade-offs between different strategies. We can calibrate between one offer to the next. We're pretty fluid with our ability to adjust and move and make sure that we're aligned with your goals and your vision. And we're giving you the most comprehensive data to make the best decisions based on not just customer acquisition costs, but lifetime value, retention, dollar amount per patient. But we have competitors that their entire business model is basically they're going to run the most simple templatized play, right? It's not going to be your custom brand kit. They're not going to make a custom graphic with nice images. It's not going to be a bunch of carefully crafted marketing language trying to specifically position your med spa. They run, and I respect them because I think they do, some of them do this well, but they run a very basic version of the play, which is I'm going to run a templatized graphic with a stock photo with pretty generic assets and barely any information specific to this med spa, but we're gonna nurture the leads really aggressively. And our entire model is gonna be we're gonna nurture the leads really aggressively. That's an option. So if you have a marketing agency, ask them if they offer this as a service. Now, there's a downside to doing that. So if you're paying a marketing agency to generate leads, this is one of the reasons we've avoided it in our agency. I don't think it's the gold standard. It is better than not managing them properly, but the gold standard is internal. But if you have a marketing agency, ask them. We're just now starting to think about rolling this out. Understand that that is going to require an additional investment. Even the companies that are lean and efficient, all costs considered, their retainers get $3,000 plus with that service incorporated. So it is an extra expense, but it's replacing labor costs. So it's pretty cost-effective overhead. So that's option one, right? Have your agency do it if they're willing to do it. If they're good, you really need to have confidence they're representing your brand well. If you don't have confidence they're representing your brand well, I would argue you need to do whatever you can to move on to option 2 and option 3. So make sure they're representing your brand well. Ghost shop the agency, right? Have some friends or some of your employees fill out the lead form, see how the leads are managed. Ask some challenging questions, see how the workflow works. Make sure you have confidence in how those are being handled because that's a representation of your brand. Option number 2 is to manage them internally. And I think this is the gold standard, but you need someone who's dedicated to wearing this hat. So if you've got someone that's got a computer up, they've got lag time, they're able to be hyper responsive and jump on calls with clients all day during the workday, ideal, because that person's going to know your brand. They're going to be fully dedicated. You can align incentives properly, and just everything can be more seamless and more streamlined. And you'll have more control over the messaging and the cadence and the training of that person if they work under your purview. So if it's someone that's actually in your office and works for you, or even remote but works for you specifically, that would be even better. The next option you have with leads management to ensure speed to lead is AI. I don't think that this is the play as of right now. Is it better than doing nothing? Sure. But the AI tools that I've seen, whether it's the chat bots, some of the call tools right now that I'll actually do voice calls, I think they leave so much to be desired because when people realize they're talking to an AI, it hurts the customer service experience. And if they're talking to a real person, that feels like white glove experience. And as med spas, one of the ways that we differentiate is by providing a white glove experience. So yes, you can use AI tools. For our clients, we use automation. So AI, if you want to call it AI, more automation, where we're being proactive about the touch points. We're programming some initial touch points. But once someone has responded and a two-way communication has ensued, I want a person taking over that conversation. Honestly, as more businesses lean into AI, you're going to actually be able to differentiate your med spa with white glove experience by actually managing your leads with a person. And I think it's worth it. Juice is worth the squeeze. You're talking about one client might come in and spend $500 or $1,000 plus with you. If this improves your results by 3 or 4 extra clients a month, it way more than pays for itself. So again, with marketing, if we're doing the right things, these things should be an investment and not an expense. So I just wanted to take some time today to reiterate the importance of speed to lead, to give you some ideas and some stats to back up that recommendation. And again, kind of outline your options. Have your agency do it. Ghost shop them. Be confident in the way that they're handling it if you need them to do it. Option 2, use internal teams. Train them. Make sure you have good SOPs and good protocols for who's answering the question, how they're answering the question. You have a good audit process, and you set a standard for how fast and how good those replies are, because the context of the replies matter too. Option 3, I think AI is the worst of these options, but it's better than doing nothing. If you really need to lean into those tools. If you have any insights, if you've tried some AI tools that are working well, I know there are some of them for hit or miss stories about some of those tools, but share those in the comments below, whether it's on the podcast or the YouTube feed. We'd love to hear them. And I wanted to encourage you today to dial in your speed to lead. Don't be shy about jumping on the phone if you can work it into your workflows, because if you're able to connect with these leads one-on-one quickly, you're going to convert more leads, you're going to make more money, and you're going to achieve faster, more aggressive growth with your med spa. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.